Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. Dalton is in here. So I'm going to tell you guys real quick, and the people that miss the beginning are going to miss it, but I'm going to be on camera probably for 30 minutes, and then I've got to go lay down with him to get him to bed because Brooke is at Disney. So it's just me and Dalton tonight, and I can't let him stay up till 10. And then if he goes to sleep, I'll come.
And our dog.
Oh, yes, and I have the puppy in here, so it might be mayhem. Sorry about that. So, I'm Kat, the nurse flipper. In case you do not know, I'm joined by my co-host, Rod, picking and punching. Below me, both of these guys have been on before. We have Joe, Philly Picker, as well as Sonny, Las Vegas. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves real quick, and then we will get your questions. Get your questions in early. It looks like we've got 11 already in queue before we start. So to make sure they get answered, get them in quick. And here is Joe.
Hey, everybody. My name's Joe. I go by Philly Picker on YouTube. I don't put much content out anymore, but I do a reselling podcast with Jimmy Old School Flips and Mike, the Death Pile Picker. It's called Reseller Leftover Podcast. If you want to check that out, I'll try to put the link in the chat if you want to go check that out after the show. So I'm a part-time reseller. I'm based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well, now right outside of Philadelphia. I moved about a year ago, and like I said, I'm part-time. I mostly just sell on eBay.
Perfect. Here is Sonny.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Sonny Las Vegas on YouTube and on Instagram. The Sonny Las Vegas. I love reselling anything that could make me a profit and not get me in trouble.
As long as it's legal, right? That's like the key here. As long as it's legal.
Mom, he's behind us.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is why I need Brooke here. All right. So let's go ahead and see. It looks like Miss Elena came in first and said, have you ever had a package lost in the mail from a buyer trying to send a package back for a refund due to just not liking the item? Do you refund anyways before the package is found? That's a good question.
I guess I'll answer first. I've had this happen before, and I usually do not refund until the package comes back to me. eBay will protect you as long as the the tracking doesn't show that it has been returned to you. So I usually hold off until I get the package.
It's never happened to me where they didn't like it for a full refund, like return back to me. But I've had somebody complain that they didn't like a little kid's hat that I got from the Goodwill bins. It sold for like $4. Shipping probably cost just as much. Before I could even reply back to the response, because I have free returns on my end on eBay, and it ended up just glimpsing on the monitor to where eBay just automatically sided with whatever they wrote, if they wrote them privately, and just refunded them, and I never got the item back. So I'm glad it was only like a few pennies, but other than that, I've never had other situations like it. But in my opinion, if somebody doesn't like something, I would go with what you feel is right, and just know that this could be a returning customer in the future. And if you got a bad feeling about it, just block them. That would probably be my second option.
Yeah, so I've had this happen before. Just like they said, just like the other guys were talking about, I don't issue a refund until the item's actually sent back to me. And if the package does get lost in the mail, eBay would step in. If that buyer does file a complaint or anything else, eBay will step in. They'll allow you to keep your money, and then they'll probably more than likely issue a refund back to the buyer as well. So that's usually how eBay is going to handle this. They'll just say it's going to be a one-time courtesy to that buyer. If if the buyer does this repeatedly and abuses the system, eBay won't issue them a refund. You'll still get to keep your money. But if it's a one-off situation, eBay will handle it.
Yeah, I would not. You could, if it's like lost, like it's been like over a week, I would file a loss claim on the tracking number, because you're going to have the tracking number in your return section. I would file it, and then you could get the money from USPS. And that's what I would do, but I would not refund them because eBay's gonna refund them anyways. And I wanted to show you guys too before I have to go off camera to get Mr. Thing to bed. I got color. I got my background on my sleeve, some of it. So we have some color starting to come. It hurts, it's swollen, but we're starting to get color. So I wanted to show you guys before.
That's good.
I had to go hide. All right. Brittany says, how do you handle buyers requesting a return outside of 90 days? It's day 120.
I don't know. I don't think I would take
Just
the
say
return.
it, Joe. Just say it.
I wouldn't take the return back. Regardless of what it's for. I mean, it's been 4 months, and they had plenty of time to make their decision whether they wanted it or not. I usually get some returns within the 30-day return period that I have, and it's usually like on video games, or I sell a lot of media like DVDs and things like that. People will, in my opinion, they would just rent the DVD or the game from me and keep it for a couple weeks and then return it. I've had that happen quite a few times, but if it's 120 days, I probably won't take the return back.
Yeah, I would reject it. It's easy as that. I would reject it.
You have to have a hard cutoff date. If it's 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, wherever it is, because you're just going to have people keep abusing the system. So if it's past my cutoff date, no refund. And if they try to follow a credit card dispute or anything else, eBay will handle that for you.
Yeah.
And Kat is gone. So let's move on to the next question here.
I'm gone. I'm back. I was hot. I ran. I had to turn on the air conditioner. Sorry. I would not take it after 30 days. 30 days is the rule. There's no way in hell that I'm taking it back at 90 days. Hold on. I'm going to buzz the dog. I have a remote.
At 90, I mean, if someone's trying to return something after 90 days, I mean, at that point in time, they must have just used that item, or like, I know people that would buy video games, beat them within like a week, and then return them because they've already beat the game. So
yeah, I've had that a few times that way.
Yeah, there's no way I'm doing it. All right. Miss Kathy says, do you have any suggestions when selling gold jewelry other than a detailed description and pictures?
I don't sell much jewelry. I have sold gold before that I found at like an estate sale, but it ended up being like a broken necklace and stuff like that. So I just ended up listing it for the weight of the gold. I don't do much jewelry selling, but I mean, it sounds pretty good to just give a detailed description of it and take good quality pictures of it and, hope for the best at that point.
I really want to invest here soon on testers for silver, gold, whatever. But at the flea market, there's two vendors that I've becoming more and more friends with. I would say we're friendly, but we're not friends yet. And they sell gold and silver all the time, from jewelry and coins. And I asked one of them if I could take it over to them and if they could test it for me until I learn from them and, teach me, and I'm confident in what I'm selling is right. Because the last thing I want being a full-time reseller is for something to come back my way and it shut down my business. And eBay happens to be 75% of my business. Other portion is going to be on knickknacks and local sales.
I have no suggestions. I don't sell gold jewelry. I would literally reach out to Kat and ask her what would be the best thing to do. So I'll send the Kat.
The big thing with gold, like as far as actually getting the sales, people want to know the weight. So make sure you have the weight in there. A lot of my gold pieces I sell for more than they're worth per weight because they're vintage and I'm not selling it for somebody to melt it down or for the weight. So I would just say, make sure you have the weight in there and you're gonna get the offers, fast. Gold, I always get really fast offers on. But other than that, there's nothing else. I haven't really had issues. And I actually, except on Bonanza, and we had 4 sales on Bonanza.
Wow. Commonwealth Pickers will be really happy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I sold a $900 gold piece on Bonanza, and they filed a chargeback in one, and I didn't get my gold or my money back. So I just sold. Would anybody like the golden retriever puppy? I just sold 4 things. One was a $250 Louis Vuitton wallet. So if I get another chargeback like I did with that gold necklace and don't get my item or my money, I'm done with Bonanza. Sorry, Kevin.
So,
Just done.
Kat, I don't know if you know this, but if you go into your PayPal account, because you get paid through PayPal through
Oh,
Bonanza.
I turned that on after the last one.
So I had a problem too last year. Someone bought something from me on Bonanza, filed a credit card dispute, and I didn't have the seller protection turned on PayPal. You actually have to go in and turn it on, and they charge you like, I don't know, what is it, like a couple dollars per transaction or 30 cents?
Yeah,
per,
it's not much, I don't think.
It's a small fee to get extra seller protection. So if you guys are selling on Bonanza or selling any platform that you're accepting PayPal payments, make sure you go into your PayPal settings and turn on your seller protection.
Let's see.
When people ask what is Bonanza, can you let them know what Bonanza is?
I mean, I don't know how to say what the heck Bonanza is. How do you even say that?
Bonanza is a website that you can actually import all of your eBay listings. It automatically does it for you. So when you list on eBay, it automatically imports all your stuff to Bonanza. And if you ever do a Google search, things pop up from Bonanza all the time. They do heavy SEO search on there, and the Commonwealth Picker owns it.
Kevin owns everything.
Yep.
He does. All right. Karen with the C says inventory systems for hard goods. Each shelf has a letter and each shelf has a number. Items have a SKU, but I can't do the consolidation method of moving things forward. What inventory system do you use? And I want to read the second part real quick. She said, this has been described as the daily refinement that she's used for years for her personal book collection. The consolidation is when you keep moving items forward so the empty boxes are at the end. So basically she's asking what inventory system we use.
For my hard goods, I sell a little bit of clothing too, and pretty much my inventory for my clothing is like what she's explaining with daily refinement. They're all numbered, and I can move them forward to the, and have the boxes, the empty boxes at the end, and just add new items to that. But for my hard goods, I use some Rubbermaid containers, totes, and they're all labeled and they're on different shelves over here on the side here. But it is hard to consolidate them. So what I usually do, I don't worry about consolidating them. I just end up taking the box or the tote that I have the least amount of items in. So when I do list new items, that's the tote that it goes in. And when that tote is full, I go find another tote that's, doesn't have as much in it, and I just keep adding to those totes. So the hard goods really never get consolidated down, but my clothing gets moved into the next box as it sells.
Yeah, most of my stuff for tote wise is going to be apparel, and it's fairly easy for what I do because I get a lot of the same things. T-shirts, shirts, garments like that are going to all be in this 1 to 2 totes that are next to each other. I don't have a number SKU because I use clear translucent bags, and I could just see it easily. And then say if I have 2 items that are similar, like the same print, same color, but different sizes, I will Sharpie the outside and put like XL, large, or something like that. When it comes to jeans, I love selling jeans. That's all in one tote, and they go by pretty fast. And then for anything else of hard good glass, which I really love and I've been digging into for over 3 years now, is going to be all on shelves, either in my garage or here in my office. But if it's up in my office, I know that I'm getting ready to pull it over to Knickknacks or get it listed online. So it's not mixed up with things that aren't listed. So I'm getting better at getting organized, but I do very good at reselling online to where I don't need a number or SKU system yet. But this coming up year, I have a strong feeling I'm going to, because of the better situation that I'm in, caught up on getting organized and my trash and everything getting out of here. And as that has been happening, I've been moving a lot faster. This has been one of my best months in a while. I think I've made $4,700 after taxes, and I've only spent around $500 into that. So it's been pretty good.
Thanks, man. So for me, I use totes, and I have a number system. Each totes might be like A1, A2, A3, A4. I don't consolidate. The consolidate method does work for like clothing, books, other things, but when you're doing hard goods, it's just like Joe was saying, it's kind of hard sometimes to consolidate those. So what I would recommend doing is make sure you have clear totes. If you have clear totes, you can actually see what totes are actually empty just by straightly looking at those. And just like Joe does, what I do is I pick a tote that looks like it's like half empty, and then I'll pull that tote down, and it may be B9 or it might be A6. I'll just grab that tote for that day. When I'm listing new items, I just pop it in there. So that's a good way for me to do that. I'm not moving items around, and if I have clothing, that'd be super easy to do. Another thing I do too is I put like items in same totes. So like I have a tote named B3. That's usually where I put all my video game stuff. B2 is usually all my DVDs and box sets and other things. So those totes are in a SKU system, but then I also try to keep like items in certain sections of my organization. So that way, if I forget to SKU it or something like that, I know exactly where to go to find the item. So I only do that. The like items are stuff that I sell, like my bread and butter items or stuff that I get in all the time. My other random items are going to be in some random totes.
Yeah, so we have the shelves, the letters, the numbers. Some of ours, we do banker's boxes. And we do what Joe and Rod both said they were doing, and that is like we just look and see what section's empty, and that's where we're going to put stuff that we're listing for the day. Shannon is trying to get like stuff together, so like all of our purses, all of our cups, because I use my rental house to put a lot of our inventory. So Shannon actually put all the cups up in the cupboard of the kitchen, which makes sense. So now like the cups, they actually are labeled wrong because she moved all the cups to the cupboard. But we know if we sell a cup now that they're in the cupboard. So she's trying to get a little more organized. For me, it's super hard, the whole like doing a section with a certain type of thing, because I buy so much different stuff that I might not have any more of whatever that is, and I need that space. So like categorizing it just doesn't work for me just because of the way I buy. And
you could go probably for certain items, like if you can just do an entire container of linens, because you get linens in a lot of times.
Yeah, I do linen all the time.
Yeah. So for me, I the same system that you're talking about. The only like items I put together are stuff that I sell a lot of, like DVDs. I keep my jeans and my shirts in a certain section. So I know like there won't be multiple totes for those items, but they're in the same section.
Right. So. And then Sharon's asking how you handle your SKUs when you end and sell similar. Your SKU should not change. When you end and sell similar, it should stay in there, and you shouldn't have to do anything with it. Like, I'm not sure why it would disappear. Right? I mean, does it stay for everybody else?
Yeah, it should stay the same if you relist it and sell similar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because because you're putting it in the custom SKU section, just like everything else. Your title, your description, everything else stays the same when you do sell similar. It's still going to sell or relist it. It's still going to be the same every time.
Yeah. Here's a fun question by Sarah. What items do you collect yourselves that you don't sell?
I usually, I collect sports cards. I usually hold on to them, but there are a few that I come across that I would sell. And I collect sneakers also. Usually, Jordan sneakers and things like that I can come across. So.
I think the only thing I keep for myself more than anything lately is apparel that fits me, not apparel that I'll work on it to fit me in the future to lose weight. That would be the only thing. Other than that, if I'm holding on to anything, when it comes to glass, I really love glass. If you haven't seen my videos, go and look. I do my best to find glass often. I will hold on to it for a time limit. I know that I can't hold on to it because that has gotten me in trouble with my wife many a times, and I am tired of getting her tired of me holding on to things way too long. So I've given myself a time limit, either a month or shorter, and move on, because the whole point of me being a reseller is to find things in reseller.
So for me, I like things that have some type of emotional connection. Like from my childhood, I have a bunch of wrestling figures in the back corner, the old WWF Hasbro figures from the 1990s, and then the old LJN, the big rubber ones from the 80s. I had those as a kid, so I collect those. I do collect some sports cards. I do collect some comic books. I also collect, like, there's autographed horror movie posters behind me. But what I normally do is I literally, the stuff that I do collect, I'll put it up on eBay at a super high price, where it's the I don't want to sell it price, but if someone buys it, everyone has a price, so it's gone. So I do that a lot of times. Like, I used to have an autographed chainsaw for the guy, I can't remember his name. He played in the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was so cool. I had it on my shelf. It was a real chainsaw, the same one they used in the 70s in the movie. And then he passed away, and I had a list on eBay for like $800,000. Then someone bought it, so it was cool, but not $1,000 cool for me to to keep it. So
yeah, so I don't collect anything that I don't sell. I only collect a couple of things. One is Raku pottery. That is one of my favorites, and I have a pretty decent collection, most with like sea turtle stuff, and a few of you have sent me things. And then I collect a few sand art paintings, and I sell both. So Raku, I only keep it if I really like it. I actually have I want to say it's a $300 or $400 piece that I bought that is gorgeous, that I have displayed in my house, but it is listed for sale. So if it sells, it's going. But I have a small collection like on my nightstand that's mine. And a lot of it I actually paid full retail. I bought off eBay because I'm not lucky enough to find enough when I'm out. But yeah, everything I collect, I still sell. I don't sell at all. I keep some for me, but I still will sell particular pieces from them. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we had a super chat. Super chat. Lala sent us $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do the octopus while I'm still here. Here you go. Where is Gino? Is Gino in the chat? Gino made that for me to match my hand tattoo. If you guys don't know, that octopus was made for that. That's what it was for. I don't know if I haven't seen Gino in here tonight. Gino, come out. All right, let's see. Lucas says, I purchased an item from a seller on December 8th, supposed to receive by the 16th, shows shipped but untracked. The seller states they will refund me and still ship the item. Should I leave negative feedback?
I've been buying and selling on eBay for a long time, and I don't think I left negative feedback one time. But I mean, that's totally up to you if you want to leave negative feedback and all that. But I don't know what it means by it's shipped but untracked. I mean, if it's shipped out, or does it show as soon as you print the label? Does it show shipped? Is that what it is? Or
so when you print off your label, it's going to say shipped, but it won't actually have a tracking. So until the post office scans it in, it will say in possession of XYZ, like the location, and then it'll say in transit to the next location after that. So this may either the buyer or the seller just printed up the label and just forgot to ship it, maybe. Mm-hmm. That possibly could be what happened.
I mean, if it is showed that it went to the post office, because a lot of my packages this time of the year, they're tracking uploads a little later than usual. So, but you're talking almost 8 days. So I mean, I don't know. I think if it is the post office's fault that this didn't happen, I don't think I would leave a negative feedback for that seller. But if it does turn out that it is them, that they just printed it out and didn't ship it, I mean, it's up to you if you want to leave a negative feedback. Just try to communicate with them. I think that's the best thing to do, is communicate with the seller, or the seller. I'm sorry, the seller, to see what they could do on their end. And then I think you can also do, if they do have a tracking, they can you can do a missing package request or whatever that's called with the post office, and they'll do their best to find it that way.
What they said.
So one thing, depending on what the item is, if the item was medium mail, they don't show tracking sometimes during Christmas time, during December. So, but they should have scanned it at the post office that it was there. I've had packages, if you don't take it to the actual counter, I had packages where I dropped it off at the post office and then get scanned into days later during the holiday time, because just how we're overworked right now, we're getting super sales, we're busy, we're running post office. They're 10 times busier than we are right now, and they cut corners just like everyone else would do just to get through the day, make their job go faster. And a lot of times people won't scan it. That's why if you ship a package up at the post office, it may not scan in until it gets all the way across the country to the actual destination post office before it gets to your house. That's happened a lot to me, especially during December. So, in medium mail gets pushed to the side. So they're going to put priority mail first. They're going to put ground advantage after that, and then medium mail. So depending on how they ship the item will get pushed aside as medium mail. I've had items sit at the post office in the back because they're giant boxes at Christmas time for a week before I filed a claim, and then it started moving again, because when they're filling up the trucks, they only have an X amount of space, and sometimes they'll put all the smaller packages on first and put those big ones aside. Sometimes they get forgotten. I've gone through it all over the holidays.
Yeah, so the only time for me that tracking wouldn't show is if I drop shipped. If I didn't have it and I bought it from another seller, I would then mark it as shipped. Right. When the other seller ships it. So then I'm counting on the other seller, and they will give me a tracking number, and I will give that tracking number to my buyer, but I can't enter it into eBay because the other seller already did. And you cannot enter the same tracking number into eBay's system twice. I don't think for this, as long as they gave me a refund, I don't think I would leave negative feedback. If you guys were here, like a month ago, I left negative feedback live for a seller I bought some Nikes from.
Did you ever go back and look at that?
What?
I want to see if they ever responded to your
didn't care. Nope, they didn't care. Nope.
0 F's given.
It was their first negative. Yeah, they really 0 F's given about that. And that was the whole transaction, and that's why I left negative feedback. Like, you can't treat your buyers like that and ignore them,
Gino's in the chat and wants to see your finished tattoo.
Okay, I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to go to bed because Dalton's back there crying. Him and the puppy are like having 2 children and they're fighting. It's not finished, Gino. It's finished up to my forearm. So there's color on the octopus now. It's super swollen right now. These are going to be bubbles. Those will be bubbles. He didn't get to finish that. Look how swollen. You see my skin because it's so swollen. It's horrible. It hurts so bad. Listen here, buddy. I'm going to give you Kevin just for that. All right. Scott sent $10. Kevin.
I always feel like I need Visine after seeing that.
Joe's been to Kevin's house. That was just like when the time you're at Kevin's house, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I'm going to read the next question. I'm going to go to voice only. You guys are going to see the circle in my picture. I'm going to try to get Dalton to sleep because he has school tomorrow and Brooke is not here, so I don't have any help. And Siggy says, I purchased a coin through eBay from California. They sent it with registered eBay letter mail. eBay showed delivered, but it's not in my mailbox. So now what? So a dishonest neighbor has the coin in their box. So if you're on the other end of this, what do you do?
I actually had this happen. Well, I don't know. What's eBay letter mail? Is that like the certified or whatever, like how you ship cards? Can you ship coins that way? Is that what that is? Rod, do you know?
I don't think so. The registered.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what the registered letter mail. They just ship the regular mail. I mean, like there's a standard envelope through eBay, but that's only for $20 or less. That's where you ship like patches, sports cards.
Yeah, but you can't ship coins that way, right?
Yeah, not that
it does come with tracking though. Well, I had it happen with me with the. I ended up buying my son, if you know the clothing brand Supreme. I ended up buying him a Supreme hat, and the tracking showed that it was delivered to the house, and it was nowhere to be found. I ended up going back to. I went to the post office and talked to, I don't know if it was a supervisor or whatever they call them there, the post general or whatever, but they were able to scan that tracking number, and through it, the way that it was scanned when it was delivered, the GPS showed exactly where it was scanned, and it was scanned the same address as mine, but 1 block over. So they ended up sending a message to the the mailman, and he actually went over there and got the package and delivered it. So he just delivered it. It was an honest mistake. He delivered it to the wrong address, but they were able to pinpoint it with the GPS when they scan it to do it. So that might be an option if you if you can visit your local, post office. And that's how I ended up getting it back. And I also do know the neighbor. I think the neighbor would have eventually brought it over to the house. So, but.
Yeah, I would recommend that too, to contact more than likely, like, go in person, talk to not just the clerks in the front, ask for the managers. I used to work for USPS back in 2016, and a lot of things that they did then, they're still doing now. And one thing, like Joe was talking about, that they were able to see more information on their end with grade coordinates. They could also see what carrier had it, and they get to go back to them. And it's unbelievable how much things they remember, just like us, for those who are resellers or have all this inventory, how you can remember this one particular little thing way back when, but like me, can't remember to take out the trash on the right day. But they do very good at that, and they'll contact them and try to work with you. And if that's not the case, then of course you want to get back with them and say, hey, it's not here. But for some reason, regardless of what post office it is, there are always the bad apples that want to scan items and then you not get it the next day or the next 2 days. That happens to me often with orders on eBay and no other platform. Like buying from Whatnot, it'll go through the same USPS, but for some reason, there's always things from eBay that occurs to me several times out of the year.
It's funny is when I had my other home, I would get my notifications that, because you get notifications your item's delivered on eBay, and I'll go to my mailbox and it wouldn't be there, and I would get my package the following day or the day after. So the post, what they were doing is they're scanning delivered when they're putting on Sonny, when they put it on the truck, they scan delivered for the next day. I guess maybe that's what we're doing. I don't know, but I would just have that same problem. I would also recommend trying to talk to your postmaster. I got your other message on here saying that you got 36 boxes, so I'm assuming you have like a big mailbox right there. If you have a chance, if you're able to go down there, when my mail person comes around the same time every day, so I've had that problem. I went down there and they actually put it in the wrong box, and the postmaster was able to open up the box and look it and grab it for me. So I've done that, and I've had the same issue like Joe had, where I had 2 PlayStation 5 stolen. They say they were delivered from my house, and my wife was home. I got a notification instantly they were delivered, and it was an inside job with FedEx at the time when they hired those holiday workers, and they weren't driving the FedEx truck. They're driving one of those like Penske trucks where you rent the truck and drive it. But they were able to track the driver's his GPS of where he scanned and said it was delivered, which was a block or 2 away from my house. So they ended up covering it and giving all my money back for the items. But yeah, it's a crappy situation when that does happen. You can try everything, but it sometimes you have to put the extra work in, and it's not easy. You can still file a claim through eBay though, and if you haven't done this before, you should be covered under buyer protection. And just eBay may send you an affidavit for you to sign it saying that you did not receive the item, and they'll still issue you a refund and then give let the seller keep their money as well. They usually do a one-time courtesy for that for a lot of buyers.
Yeah, I think can you guys hear me?
You can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I think I would do the same thing Rod said and file a buyer protection claim and try and get your money back that way. I don't know how much the coin was. I would file the eBay claim regardless. For me, if it was something really expensive, I would probably file a chargeback with my credit card company, to be honest with you, because if I really didn't get it and it cost like a couple $100, that's when, you know, I'm going to file the chargeback, whether you would win it or not, because technically, just like on eBay, that seller has a tracking and show that it's delivered to you, even though you know you didn't get it. So I don't know if you would win it with the credit card company or not, but if it was expensive, that's the route that I would take.
I would recommend going through eBay first, because eBay will make within days settle the case, and then if eBay does not sign your favor, then I would go to your credit card company. I try to eliminate filing credit card disputes if possible, because they will get hit with a $20 fee or service charge on those credit card disputes. But you just gotta be careful with those.
Yeah. Okay. MC Han 620 says, if a buyer makes an offer on eBay and you counter the offer, is it possible to go back and accept their previous offer before it expires?
I don't believe there is a way to go back. I have done this once before where I was lucky enough that the seller or the buyer that sent me an offer was also a seller, so I was able to click on one of their items that they were selling, and just explain who I was and that I would accept the offer if they sent it again. And I ended up selling an item. It was a Matt Stairs signed baseball that I don't know what I had it listed for, but they sent me a decent offer. I probably should have took it originally, but I changed my mind a day or two later or whatever it was. But I just reached out to them on their item that they were selling, and they sent me an offer. So
Yeah, I've done that a few times too. I know that I've been able to see the offers in my messages on eBay, and I could click on it. It will show that user's name. And often I see the offer option little button to click on for me to send it to them. And if not, I still message them saying if they're still interested in it, I will lower the price right there and then once they reply, right? And then I'll accept it if they end up sending another offer or something. And it usually works out like majority of the times.
I will say that's the worst thing in the entire world is when you get an offer and then you send a counter offer and then you're just like biting your nails, like thinking, oh man, they're not going to accept it, and thing expires and you miss out. Especially if it's like something you just listed and it's like a high dollar item. I go through that constant battle mentally all the time with eBay. If I list them up super high, someone sends me a reasonable offer, but it's only been on eBay for a couple hours. I hold off, send a counter offer, then they don't accept it, and them stuck, and then I'm still on eBay for months later. But one thing I've tried to do in the past, and this is something you could do, is if you think about countering them, send them a message before you send them a counter. Like, hey, I'm willing to work with you on this. This, can we meet in the middle? Save us $150, and they sent you an offer $75, and you want to get 100. Say, hey, I'd be willing to work with you. Lowest I'm willing to accept is 100. Are you willing? Is that something okay? I can send a counter offer now. And if they say no, then at least they're not going to accept the offer. If you send it 100, then you can always wait till those 24 hours up and then accept it before it expires. But there's just kind of a workaround on it to try to maybe message a buyer and get that line of communication open if you're worried about them not accepting your counter offer.
Yeah, I just suck it up and still have the item a year later and kick myself in the butt for not accepting.
I'm sure all of us have had where you send out offers and nothing happens, and then after it expires, even a day or a few days later, they'll message you and say, hey, I was away, I saw your offer, would you still be willing to sell it to them for that offer?
And I do. Yeah, I have that happen. And I actually sold a $588 painting that way. That was the offer I sent out, was almost $600. I had it priced at like $900, and I sent a 30% off offer because that's what I do for like 3 months to a year. And they asked, would I still be willing to? I said, yeah. I changed the price for them. And instead of sending them an offer, I just said, hey, the price is now the $588 that you said I offered you. It's there to buy. And they bought it, and we're very, very happy with it. So, I mean, they do come back like that sometimes, but it's hard. Like Rod said, like if I've only had it on there for a week or two, I want to accept that lower offer, or do I want to counter? And if it's decent, I do counter, but I don't know. Like I said, you could have it a year later and then you're like, well, crap, I got an offer the first week. I should have took it. But there's no way to know. Or it could sell for full price next week.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Now, if it's a slow sales day, I might be more willing to accept a lower offer. Than I would. Like I sold a Louis Vuitton handbag today for 525, I believe is what I accepted. I
nice.
wanted 550, but my sales have been super low the last 3 days, like $200 or less, when we've been hitting 500 to 1,000 a day. So I was like, that's a $25 difference. Like, no, I'm gonna. And now I did counter them at first because they were way lower. And so I countered them at the 550 I wanted. I said, this is my lowest. They came back at 525. And I'm like, okay, I'm eating my words. Like, I'm going to take it, even though I just told them, like, that the 550 was my lowest. But so, I mean, that put us up at like a $900 day today.
Nice.
So, I mean, you just got to kind of gauge it. I don't reach out to them though. Like other people were saying they did. Rod, I cannot unstar
Yeah,
questions
I'll take
and
care
I
of it.
cannot star.
I would also just add to that too so I had a situation where I had this super rare Disney Queen of Hearts doll. They only made 500 of those, and I bought it in a private pick. I was buying all this stuff from a private collector. I paid $600 for it because at that time I saw a comp on WorthPoint that sold for $1,800. I saw no one that sold for $1,500, one sold for like $1,200, and I listed on eBay. The first hour it was listed, someone sent me I think I had it listed like $1,500 or something like that. Someone sent me an offer for $1,000. Instant profit. I would have probably walked away with $300 profit in my pocket on the deal. I could, done no work at all, just quick list it. And I decided to counter. And that was a year ago. And you know who has a Queen of Hearts still sitting in the store? This guy right here. So sometimes you have to bite the bullet. You have to make the decision. Do you just, is you want to take 70 cents on the dollar today or nothing tomorrow? And that's another way. So it's a thought process you have to go into. Now looking back, I wish I would just took the money. It would have been a quick flip. I would have made my profit right away. But you just never know, like Kat said. So you just got to weigh those different situations.
All right. Amy says, this is my first Q4. Everything I've shipped recently isn't updated properly or is delayed. Is this typical for this time of year?
I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. I find typically this time of the year that happens all the time to me. I usually take my packages, depending, not every time I ship something out. Sometimes I do have them picked up, but I do take my packages to the post office and get them scanned. This time of the year, I kind of wait in line, or I find where I used to live before I moved, there was like I call it the fake post office, but it's one of those contractors that you can also drop your packages off there, and they'll scan it every time because I think that's how they make their commission on it, of how many packages they scan that day. So if you could find like a small business that also takes packages, the lines aren't as long this time of the year, but I typically find it that they are taking longer to upload.
We have a quick drop-off system now. It's like a kiosk, not the one where you create the labels, but one where you could scan your items fast. We have one at the USPS and now at FedEx. So 99% of the items I will scan in and drop off. And the only reason why there's that 1% is because I didn't know the bins, like these racks that they had, people were dumping mail in. They weren't scanning it themselves until it gets to the main post office here in Las Vegas. So one of the ladies, our guys that was working there when I was dropping one off, he said, hey, just to let you know, we don't scan those in. The main post office does. And sometimes they don't do it either. So that's when I started using that rapid scan and little kiosk thing at our area. But I've never had it be typical to where even Q4 or any quarters be something that doesn't scan. What makes me think about your question is maybe your label printer isn't printing out dark. And often if it's a thermal printer, they fade at times. So you got to wipe down that little metal bar with some rubbing alcohol and let it dry, and it usually gets darker.
So depending on where you live, there's a couple shipping hubs across the U.S. that have known issues right now. I know Georgia's one of them. Right outside of Atlanta, there's packages, a big shipping hub where stuff gets sent to, and they have issues there where things are getting delayed. During COVID time, I had this issue big time during COVID because they had such an increase of packages coming in and not enough workers at the time. And I was told by my local post office that they had tractor trailers just lined up in the parking lot down in the Tampa headquarters that were just waiting days to be unloaded. So during Christmas time, it's another. That's why UPS. That's why the Postal Service. That's why they charge you a surcharge for the holidays, which is I think UPS charges like 25 cents extra per package, but it's a surcharge because they do hire outside help to come in to try to help them like this because they just get overwhelmed with a bunch of packages. So you're gonna have stuff not scanned. You're gonna have stuff that's gonna be delayed. I highly recommend that for those out there that ship like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or just ship a couple days a week during December, during fourth quarter. I ship every single day, even if my shipping handle says 2 to 3 days. Just the fact that items will get delayed. If you get those out as soon as possible, it's only going to benefit you throughout the process.
You know what bothers me about that?
Go ahead. Sorry.
That the prices went up on shipping with USPS. From what they said, it's to cover the cost of people to do their job, and we're paying more, and it's not getting any better. You know, I didn't like that. That was the reason why the price raises.
I also too. I think don't a lot of them are working overtime as well during the holidays, so I think that also contributes to the extra cost.
Yeah,
I know UPS has like they're hiring like contract drivers because like these random cars show up in our yard and bring like one box, and the UPS truck still comes. So I don't know how they decide like what boxes these drivers get. And we're like, what is going on? Like some little raggedy car pulls up in the yard and just puts a box on our porch.
FedEx, the Penske trucks in the Tampa Bay area, they use FedEx drivers that use those because a lot of the FedEx drivers will have cameras inside the trucks. And the reason why like my PS5s got stolen because it was a Penske truck and they couldn't use the cameras because there was no camera. It was a rented truck.
Yeah, the Penske is the one that's been delivering to our house here lately. So I actually don't. I've had a couple of buyers contact me, but as many sales as we have, I just don't have the time to check and see if they're scanning or if they're being delivered. So I can't say that I do, but I know that I've had like 2 or 3 this week that have reached out to me and said like that stuff's stuck. And I think we talked about this like 6 months ago, Rod. Do you remember I had a buyer in Atlanta that asked me to use UPS because USPS had this issue in the summer in Atlanta. So I can imagine now how bad it is.
So when that happened, I actually Googled that in Atlanta, that area, found the news report, and I actually had to send it to. So any buyers I had around the Georgia area, I would, after I mailed my package and I was going to be delayed, I send them a direct link. Say, hey, this is from your local news. Just give you a heads up. They're having problems. Your package is going to be delayed. To try to get ahead of that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because we don't know like where the people buying it, live.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, yeah, if we see Atlanta, but there are so many like suburbs around Atlanta that like we wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Like small cities where we wouldn't know that was out of the Atlanta hub unless they told us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hyacinth sent us a super sticker. Rod has control of this right now. I do not. So Rod gets to pick what you get.
Let's go with Dalton.
Yay.
Yeah, it looks like you're in jail.
It looks like who's in jail?
It looks like you're in jail in that little reel thing because the bar is at the window.
What are you talking? What is I can bear? Oh, Hollyhock sent a super sticker. Thank you so much. I cannot see up close when I have my contacts in, so I'm having to hold the phone out. Like I'm getting older. I can't see. But I'm like, if I take my contacts out, then I'll have to come back out there. I don't know. Anyways, okay, Rod, pick something. He gave you Tim. Tim, if you guys do not know, over the years does not believe in dinosaurs.
Yeah, he does
so
not.
when Tim was on, Who made that? Did Leroy? Who made that? They made that for Tim because Tim does not believe in dinosaurs. All right. Oh, did we click it? We're even doing it when I'm not here. Rose says, I sell on eBay and twice now an item has sold for cheaper than I had it listed. How did this happen? I don't have buy it now with, it says with price. I'm going to assume with offer. Like she's saying she doesn't have best offer turned on and she did not send an offer out. Have you ever had this happen? And answer in the chat too, just in case it hasn't happened to any of us on the panel.
No, I've never had that happen. I usually send out a bunch of, if anything sells less than what it is, it's usually because I sent out offers on it, but it does say that she didn't send out offers. So I don't know. I've never had that happen. No.
I admit, I feel like this has happened to me a few times this year. Knowing the value of something that I had, and these were like recent items that I've listed within days that it sold, and it has me scratching my head, but then I'm looking at the profits that I made and I'm okay with it. But I feel strongly that the prices that these items have sold for were less than what I originally listed it at. Even with offers open, I still didn't receive an offer.
So either maybe you had a campaign on, which you could do a marketing campaign of like a markdown. Did they use a coupon? Do you have coupons active in your store? But I haven't had that happen to me. How about you, Kat? Have you?
I feel like I'm like Sonny, where like I don't know for sure, but like some stuff sells and I see the price and I'm like, I swear I had that price higher than that. But I don't really know. I guess I could go like look and list perfectly since all my listings are in list perfectly. I haven't had it lately, but just like a few times over the years, I've been like, I know, like you know what I mean? Like I'm like, I wouldn't have sold that for that. And I honor it and ship it out, but yeah, I feel like it has happened to me, but I don't know how it could happen. All right. Chris wants to know, Rod, are you taking a break on uploading videos?
No, I just got behind with shipping. I was supposed to drop a video today. It's almost done editing. It will be dropping tomorrow. I've just been super
Yeah,
busy.
it's been hectic around here too. And I was talking to the guys backstage before we started. I actually have had like really bad insomnia for the last 4 days. So I'm not getting enough sleep and I can't function and I can't think and it's absolutely driving me insane. So I actually missed Sunday's video. I put it out yesterday. And then last week I did the same thing. And I haven't put out a thrifting video in almost a month. When you don't get sleep and it's crazy, it's hard when you've got so much going on like we do to kind of keep up with everything. And I don't know if you guys saw it on Instagram, my full-time employee got married this Saturday. So she was out the end of last week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she was out yesterday and today. So, and then Shannon's son was not feeling well last week. So Shannon was out too. So it was just me doing everything last week, pulling, packing, shipping, plus trying to do my videos. And when you're used to having full-time employees that help you, it's and add in no sleep. So let's just add all that together. And it's just been a little crazy around here.
It's a lot though.
It is. Yeah, it really is. People don't realize like YouTube is really a full-time job in and of itself. And especially if you have 2 channels, like add that to it. Or 3 like Rod, or 5 like Dave and Kevin, or so then you're talking more than a full-time job plus trying to do all your reselling. Brooke has taken over. Like Brooke is the main one that posts on my Instagram. The stories are me scrolling when I'm having insomnia. So if you see stories, that's me. But most of the posts on my Instagram are my daughter putting them out for me. I just don't have time. It's just so much stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. I usually post 2 videos a week on my picking and punching channel, and I only posted 1 last week, and I always do Tuesday, Friday. I'm just slightly delayed, but one thing we always try to do, and anyone who has done YouTube, this is a constant struggle you get to. Sometimes we buckle down, we work ahead, and we get videos scheduled out in advance, which makes life so much easier. But it's once life gets in the way, you get stuck behind, and then it's a snowball effect. Like one thing after another, you gotta go film, because remember, you have to go out, you have to film, then you gotta edit those, then you have to upload, you gotta create thumbnails, like titles. It's a lot of work. Like people don't realize how much time and effort goes into our videos. Even when people that just film and just throw it up there without editing, there's still a lot of work that goes into that. But I'll be back.
Ricochet's Vintage Find says, how do you do that kind of refund? I just had my first refund and eBay gave them their money immediately and I haven't gotten the item. It was an $85 skirt. So I don't know if somebody else wants to tell what probably happened here, because I know. Joe, does anybody want to take
No,
this?
I mentioned earlier that that's pretty much what happened to me. That item sold, and before I could even do anything about it, like reply saying, "Okay, send the item back" or anything, it just glitched on my computer, and then it said item refunded, and then case closed. So good thing it was
Yeah,
only.
and when you issue the refund, they're not required
Right.
to send the item back. So that's not on the buyer.
No, I didn't
So
send the
you have
refund.
to
They
be
were
very,
requesting
very
it.
careful. Because if you accidentally click, like, give them a full refund, eBay's not gonna make them ship it back. So
Yeah.
be very careful, because I've had a couple of people tell me they've issued the refund and they think they're doing the right thing, giving the money back, and that they're still gonna get their item back, but that's not the case. And if you actually read the small print on eBay when you click to give them the refund, it will tell you that if you give this refund, that the buyer will not be required to ship the item back. So that's what I'm thinking happened. I don't know if anybody has any other input.
Yeah,
The only other thing I could potentially think of is if the buyer opened up a claim and that they didn't respond to the claim. If they didn't respond to the claim, eBay will decide automatically in the buyer's favor within the next amount of time and automatically give them a refund without sending the item back.
right.
Yeah, if you don't accept the refund, you mean or accept the return or whatever.
When the buyer opens a return, you have to respond to return. If you don't respond to it, or if you don't take action in that case, if they open a case against you, eBay will automatically sign the buyer after X amount of days.
And then they keep it. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
All right. A nose for picking says, question regarding selling. Moving forward in your business, what are your 2025 new goals, or one of your main goals for 2025?
For me in 2025, I just want to. I don't know. I got to be smarter about just being organized. I'm so not organized, and I feel like that not having a organized workspace really takes me off of what I come down here to accomplish. When I say down here, it's in my basement. I have this set up in my basement, and if I have to come down here and I have to clean off my photo table because I just left stuff on there and I didn't clean up after myself after packing and things like that, it gets me kind of out of the mood to come down here and take pictures. So, and I find myself, getting out of the groove that I want to come down here and do when I find myself unorganized. So that's one big thing I want to try this year, is definitely just stay organized and keep a clean work area from where I'm working at. I know it's not a real huge goal, when it comes to, what people might think is a goal. But for me, I think I got to work on that. It's just in my headspace that I need a clean work area and, start the year off good that way.
Yeah, I'm with Joe with getting organized. I feel like if I just stay focused on that, I'll be able to do it within a week when it's taken me years, just mental battles that I fight every day, demons. But one thing I want to get with this year coming up, maybe even before the month ends, is going to be getting into storage units. And by doing that, I know I'm going to have to be jumping back on Whatnot. I just love the opportunities that are out there to buy low and then have all these random items, just to have a new kind of journey within the same path that I'm trying to do. And I feel like storage units are going to be a huge plus for the amount of money I could make off of it. And one thing I was doing this year was really talking to my local community of people who like the things that I buy and I buy more of, and then I just sell in private sales to them. And everyone has been a minimum of $250. That has just been easier every time because these private buyers, I already know what they like, and they just come, they look at it real quick, and within 15 minutes, they're gone. Rather than me trying to piece out every item, and I still profit big time. So it's going to be a lot of work, but storage units is one of my soon goes for this year coming up.
I laughed when you said storage units because me and Kat both talked last year, same time, same place. Last year we talked about what are our goals for 2024, and we both said we want to get into buying storage units. We just need to clear up some stuff, and unfortunately, I never met that goal. So, you know, as if anyone's ever watching my flipper videos, I said I'm on Operation CSO trying to clear stuff out, keep it PG-13, and I've been trying to do that, and I made giant steps in the right direction this year, but the biggest one is I need to finish what I started. And, you know, I really took a giant step in the last month or so to get back on track with that. I want to get rid of my storage unit, to be honest with you, and I want to downsize my business. Not that I'm going to stop reselling, because I'm still reselling as my blood's how I pay all my bills is reselling, but I almost want to do a hard reset of my business and kind of reassess how I'm doing things. And there's a lot of items that I bought because I was buying. I got to the point where I was buying because it was a great deal or it was cheap, but I wasn't buying to move items directly. So I'm going to shift my mindset where if I'm going to buy a giant lot of items, I already know in the back of my head where the item's going to be selling and how fast I'm going to sell it. Instead of just buying items that's a great deal and then figure out later on how I'm going to get rid of everything. So I'm changing my mindset on that. So that's the biggest one. 2 is get organized. I mean, you guys look behind me. I get this stack of crap sitting over here. I hate this. I need to get rid of this. I want to have a clean operating area. Third part of my business, I'm shifting a lot more to sports cards again. That's something I did a long time ago because I can literally sell hundreds of dollars and it'll fit my hand. So part of the downside of my business is getting a little bit more into sports cards. If anyone, crazy thing, if you guys don't know, I did a video on my card channel last week, and I hit one of the biggest cards ever for the college football season. This guy named Aston Genty, he's the top running back in the country, and I hit a 1-on-1, only one in the world of it. So it just got sent off to go to an auction house today, or actually yesterday. So it's going up to auction. So hopefully that sells for big money. That will be a nice step for the business so I can start maybe doing some other things in the future. But I have some plans. I can't really talk about those yet, but you know, another phase of my business next year, I'm going to be partnered up maybe with someone else, and we're going to work on some different endeavors. So a lot of stuff on the horizon. And also too, I just want to double down on my pick and punting channel, my sports card channel. I really want to start traveling a lot more and help grow those tremendously.
Yeah, so for me, it's organization too, but more organization of time. And not necessarily, I'm not a big schedule person, but for me, I think like a daily schedule of what needs to be done that I like on Sunday, you know, make for the whole week, because like videos getting missed and things like that. And I'll realize when it's 8 o'clock and I'm too tired and now I'm not going to do it. And I do that now, but I don't look at it. So I really need to get in the habit of actually looking at what I write out and paying attention to it. And I'm a big paper person. I have like 50 million notebooks everywhere. So doing that, we definitely want to get more into live selling again. I did a show last Thursday. I think I'm probably going to do another show this Thursday on Whatnot as well. My goal is to try and do 2 on Whatnot and 1 on Knickknacks a week. So we'll do 3 sales a week. And I need to really, honestly, I haven't spent enough time with my employees to kind of set goals for them to where I'm getting the most money for what I'm paying out in payroll, and kind of look at the systems that we're using for listing and putting items away and shipping. And I think I've kind of been a little absent in that. And it's probably costing me money, if that makes sense, you know, because it's just not running as efficiently as it can because I'm doing way too many things. So I need to set aside some time to kind of get systems into place, you know, where we're doing the same thing the same exact way. So it's more repetitive, which when you're doing stuff repetitively, it can be faster. and obviously time is money. And when I'm paying people by the hour, if I can get more productivity out of that, I need to. And I think that's something I really have kind of slacked on just because I'm so busy doing too many things. So I think that's a big thing for me is just kind of reviewing that and taking the time to work with them to get it where we're kind of running more efficiently. And I think that'll make everybody happier, because nobody wants to be like going in 20 different directions when they're trying to do something. And Shannon's been helping us a lot with that as far as like setting up like how the packing area is and how the listing area is, just where stuff flows better. And I think everybody should really look at systems as far as that, to where you're not, moving the same item 5 times, move it as little as possible to where you're getting as much out of your time as you can. So yeah, for us, I would love to do storage units, but I think I need to have like processes and systems set up and in place and running smoothly before I go buy a ton of stuff. We haven't had a death pile. I think it's been pretty much this whole year. So we've done very well with that. Like we never have more than what could be listed within a month. So I've done very, very well with not overbuying this year and definitely continuing that. But if we want to do storage units, we we have to get systems into place and figure out like where's the furniture going to go. Do I have a used furniture store that'll take the furniture from me? And just different things like that.
Kat, when you say you're going to get back into live selling, are you going to niche down into like jewelry or something or glass, or are you going to be selling everything?
Huh?
When you said about getting back into live selling, are you going to be doing specifically a certain category? Are you going to niche down into? Or are you
We're still gonna probably mainly do jewelry. I really like the jewelry. And I sell so much, I don't really like selling that many breakables. We might do some, but I probably will stick to the jewelry. I really do like jewelry, and I can buy the lots and pull out the high dollar items to put on eBay or Etsy. And when I say high dollar, I mean like $100 or more. I'll still put, like $50, $75 things up on the live sales. And because it's hard with the higher dollar, that would be like a specific, set of buyers I would have to build up. I would love to be able to sell the higher end jewelry on live sales, but I don't think I have the time to invest to build up an audience that only wants, higher dollar jewelry. But I love the jewelry so much. I have a whole room of it. So I will need to last me for probably a couple of months without even buying anything. And then I'll have to kind of reevaluate, like, do I want to do lower value? Do I want to, kind of go mid, or just do the sterling? Because for a while I only did sterling. But right now we're doing a lot of costume that I just have because I bought it last year.
So you got me thinking there for a second. So for me, for the live selling, I'm actually going to more or less niche down now. I'm doing cards, sports cards every Monday night with me and Carrie American Arbitrage doing cards there, and then I've been still doing my Disney pins. I'll do Disney shows on there, but I don't think I'm going to do anything else and whatnot going forward. It's a lot easier just niching down a certain category. And then I know you're doing the same thing with jewelry, and then I'm going to sell anything else I sell live is going to be in Dibbit. I'm going to start selling a lot more over there with Carrie and Kevin and all those guys. But this question for all the viewers out there, and let me know in the chat, and also people on the panel here. In 2025, are you even if you're an everything seller, are you going to change your business at all by maybe niching down in a certain category or kind of focusing more on one thing? Even if you're still being an everything seller, like so for example, like Kat's going to do more live selling on jewelry. I'm going to do more live selling on sports cards or do more sports card category. Have you two thought about doing anything like that with your business? Or anyone in the chat, let me know as well.
A booth. That's one thing I forgot to mention is I signed up for the fantastic KATNURSE swap meet over here. Okay. And so now this is one thing I didn't do for Whatnot. I didn't shop for items to sell on Whatnot. If I had it, I had it. For the booth, I do want to buy for the booth and not so much like for anything else. But I do want to have like being organized, and Kat talks about a process and a method. So when I do get this booth, it'll be every third weekend of the month, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I am going to try my best to have items as early as possible. And if it's there for 2 or 3 weeks, then I'll take it over to Knickknacks if I feel like it's great for Knickknacks. And if not there, then I'll take it over, for that weekend, and then just try to figure out what actually works. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's not, because I don't have really big items other than some lamps that I have. And I think it'll be a lot easier rather than just saying how I'm just going to have these separate items for these separate places and then they're just there. So I want to see, I want to learn my customer base is really what I want to do.
Are you going to be niching down to certain, are you just doing glassware there, or are you going to be doing a certain item there, or are you kind of doing
for me, niching down is not a thing, because I do good with apparel all the way up to glass and brass and all types of things. Like I'm expanding, new horizons and not limiting myself, other than making sure I'm not overwhelming myself to where I just crash and burn and I just feel like everything's too much.
Yeah, same here. I don't think I'm going to niche down at all. I don't think I have an opportunity to source like a niche down item, because I do most of my sourcing at yard sales and flea markets and stuff like that. So I'm still going to look for stuff. The thing that I might do is concentrate more on like sell-through rate, and it's something that that I don't focus on enough, because I do buy some items that have a longer, shelf life, and I want to try to get out of that. I just want to kind of just focus more on faster selling items to get it, to get things moving.
Love it. Yeah. What about you, Kat? Anything else you want to focus or niche down on maybe in 2025?
I don't know. Like, I don't, just higher dollar. I don't think there's a category, but I definitely want to focus more on a higher dollar item, which like my more recent buys, that is what I have done. I'll be interested to see like my end of year, this average sales price over last, because we definitely have stepped it up, where I think this month we're like, I want to say like 8 days, we're over $1,000 days, which is definitely like, and that's just on eBay. That's not counting the other platforms or any live selling. So for us, definitely for me, it's going to be higher dollar items.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm like, where are we? Oh, here. Rocks to be me says, I sold an item on Bonanza and it sold again on eBay. Doesn't it come off eBay when it sells on Bonanza?
I haven't sold too many items on Bonanza, but I do believe it should come off, right? I don't know.
It should, yeah. So, Kevin, the combo picker's in the chat. We can actually maybe get him to comment and let him know what's going on with Bonanza. I'm sure his website's antiquated, just like him, and it's probably just some type of glitch in there that's not working.
We'll get it fixed.
Yeah.
All of mine have ended on Bonanza. I've never had me sell on Bonanza that did not. I would wonder if it's. Oh, I did though. You know what I had? We had, and I want to ask if anybody that might have sold more on Bonanza. We had $1,000 Gucci backpack sell on Bonanza. The money is in my PayPal, and when I go to Bonanza, it's not there to ship. And when I click on the order, it says the order was canceled, but the money is still sitting in my PayPal. I would like to know if anybody has ever had that happen.
Merry
and what
Christmas.
would you do?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would probably just let it sit there, and I would wait maybe a month or two before I deducted anything from there, because if the Bonanza did a chargeback through their system, it would automatically deduct it from your PayPal, which would automatically deduct from your bank account, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I would just wait. I would wait it out.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Cat's hitting buttons. Dang, Cat's gone. All right, well, let's go to the next question. All right, it says we did that one earlier. All right, the package showed up delivered. Did we do that one?
Nope.
Okay. The weirdest thing happened. I made a sale back on November 2nd, and 2 days ago I received the package unopened with no refund request. The package showed delivered. What should I do?
I don't know. I never had that happen. So the package went out. and then it came back a month later, and you still with no refund request. I've never had that happen. I don't know.
No, I would
You
message and
reach
say,
out to the buyer to see if you want to do that.
yeah, or just hold on to it on the side and see what happens. But I'd rather not hold off on answers that I know I could partake in. I would message the person and say, hey, this item came back. I'm going to ship it out, or would you like to just get a refund? If it's something that you feel will work for you, I would go for it. But I also don't. I'm a strong believer in you get what you put out into the world, and I just want to do nothing but good because I also know that I'm a reflection of other resellers, whether people see it or not. That I don't want what I do wrong intentionally go and reflect somebody else and just make all resellers are horrible, all thrifters are horrible.
Right.
So I've had multiple times where I've shipped out packages and got the package back in the mail saying that it could not be delivered to the address. I've had times where
I just had that on $1,000 item.
I've shipped out items and buyer has returned the item and never put a return request. So normally when that happens, I'll reach out to the buyer, send them a message. And if I don't hear back from the buyer at that point in time, I just wait and kind of see what happens. Because there's times where I've had one time where I've actually shipped out a package and the item was returned for me because they had a sign for it. And then the buyer reached out to me like 3 weeks, didn't hear from him, like 3 weeks later saying that they were hospitalized. They got sick and they were hospitalized. So they couldn't sign for the package, still wanted to get the package. So we had to rearrange shipments and other stuff. But yeah, it could be a one-off. I've heard people had that happen when someone's died and the package was returned. For the family returned it because that person's no longer there. There's a bunch of different reasons why it could happen, but I would say, hey, if you reach out to the buyer, they didn't respond to you, you made all the initial steps to make things right at that point in time, then I would just hold off and keep your package and your money until you hear back.
For me, because it's over a month, I would just wait to hear. If it was like before the month, I would probably go ahead and refund the cost of the item minus the shipping if it was in the 30-day window. Since it's past, I would wait. I would go ahead and relist the item, and then if I heard back from them, I would give them a refund. But over the 30 days, I'm not gonna automatically. But if it was under it, I would. So now I couldn't unstar items while I was in there. Dalton and the puppy are both asleep. Thank you, somebody. They are both asleep. Rebecca wants to know, what do we think about Mercari's reinstated fee structure? If you do not know, Mercari is going back to 10% on the seller. They figured out the buyers did not like having to pay the fees, and they are going back in January to the old way.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, for the people that sell on Mercari, because I know they were taking a hit without selling items on. A lot of people were taking a hit, not selling too many items. So it's probably a good move for Mercari.
What Joe said.
I think it's bad for Mercari. I think it's really bad because the fact that they are willing to restructure their fee structure to charge the buyer, not the seller, then to quick switch it back. And this is like the second or third time they've done this in the last 6 months. So that shows me that company's pretty much grasping at straws. It's good. It's good for the sellers, buyers. If you're changing things up, hopefully it increases sales. But that just shows that if they keep changing the fee structure and they're trying to work things out from charging more the buyer, charging more the seller, that's a bad sign that the health of the platform is not doing well. Because you wouldn't keep changing this right now, and you wouldn't change the fee structure if it's not affecting their bottom line. And if that's hurting their bottom line, that means they're not getting sales. So that's the way I look at it.
It's almost like they're like throwing darts at a map and like
they're throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks. That's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they are pissing off a lot of their customers and their buyers. And it's gotten to the point now where I know people that told me they don't buy in there anymore. I know people that told me they don't sell there anymore. People don't like change, and you keep flip-flopping back and forth. It's going to hurt your business and your business model.
Yeah, they're not going to have like faith in it, because you're not going to appear to be stable if you keep changing things. And that's pretty fast too. It has not been that long since they did that.
Well, Poshmark did that too earlier this year. They changed the fee structure, and then like a week later, just quick flip the script back. So I can see that if they got scared and say, hey, this isn't going to work right away, they do this. But I mean, Macari's a little bit different because they've been trying to change things, and the health of Macari is on the U.S. based side. I don't think it's good. I mean, they're originally based out of Japan, I think back in like the early 2000 or 2010, 2013 when they were established. And that was, I think, Japan's #1 selling platform, if I'm not mistaken, at one point in time. But yeah, I don't know. It's not having the same effect here in the U.S.
All right. Valerie says, are you going to have this is for me? Am I going to have my podcast next week, Christmas Eve, or the following on New Year's Eve? Yes, I'm having them both. Rod is going to be out. He has family coming. I've still got to find a co-host to fill in. Sonny's saying, is Carla going to let you do that on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
You better go talk to her, buddy.
And Den's very confident there. Sonny, like, yeah.
Look, when you're married for 14 years and going, and they say you'll never get a divorce, and you can do just about anything other than cheat. All right. You start to learn along the way that they're never going to tell you yes for anything. So you have to just take your yeses and then get beat up about it later. All right. I've learned I'm a punching bag. All right. And I just learned that I got to accept it.
Full disclosure, we don't. Those opinions are Sonny and Sonny only. So that's I'll just throw that disclosure out there. But hey,
oh my God.
Sometimes better ask for forgiveness than for permission. I get that too, buddy. So
okay, so yeah, the answer to that is yes. I'm thinking about, but I don't know who's going to be on New Year's Eve. I'm thinking about New Year's Eve drinking, #1, and #2, staying live until midnight.
Whoa.
But I got to see if my guests won't stay. I mean, if I'm drinking, I might not care. I'll just stay by myself. We'll have a party. So I'm thinking about doing that New Year's Eve.
Wait,
I don't know whether my guests will stay or not.
If you start drinking when the podcast starts,
will you sleep?
Will you make it to midnight? That's the real question, Kat. All right.
I will make it. I'm not a lightweight.
So for those that don't know, Kat doesn't drink very often. She drinks maybe a handful of times all year.
Since my divorce, I've been drinking a little.
That's a little different, though. That's a different story. But normally, Kat doesn't. Kat drinks a handful of times throughout the year for special occasions, and it's not a lot when she does. So it doesn't take much. You're a cheap date, apparently, huh, Kat?
He's calling me a lightweight right now. That's what's going on. Thanks, Rod. All right. Ellen says, if I'm going to use calculated shipping, my husband insists that I pack the item in the box or poly mailer. I don't think this is going to work due to space constraints. What do you suggest?
To be honest, I never do it I've been using flat rate shipping for a long time. I've recently gone over to calculated shipping, and 9 times out of 10, I just end up guessing the weight. It's probably not the best advice, so don't go by that. At least weigh the item and maybe add a few ounces for packaging if you want to go that route. But boxing everything up and all that, I think, could be a waste of time. I do package up some items though that are like bigger items and stuff like that I sell, just so I get ahead of the game when it does come time to shipping. But I usually guess the weight.
Yeah, I go through the process with, I wouldn't just say high value items, more of like fragile items that I know that's going to require bubble wrap and stuffing paper. So I'll get the box, I'll kind of just stack it on top of each other with the supplies and then weigh it, do it that method. And it does take up space, 1 item, 2 items, and when you could fill up other things along the way and move it out. But the few times that I've tried calculated shipping and prepackaged items, I realized at first not to tape it all up, because I had people message me, can you get a picture of something, whatever it was a while back, and I would have to reopen the item. And then I felt like afterwards, maybe if I leave it open just on one side, I'll just, if they have any questions, I could do it. But then I found like leaving it in my garage, dust or particles will come in and now it's in there. So I just learned just to keep my own method and not prepackage it. because it just ended up being way too much work for me. It became a headache more than anything.
I would say as the longer and longer you resell, you have a general idea, like Joe said, about just estimating your shipping costs, stuff like that. I keep a scale. I put all my items in the scale, and I know, because I've been doing it so long, how many ounces my boxes are. I know, rough estimate. Like if I weigh an item and it comes in at like 13 ounces, well, when I put that in the box, it's going to be over a pound. I know that right about, so automatically it's going to be 2 pounds. So I don't need to prepackage those items. Also, too, when I first started out, I thought it was a good idea to prepackage items. And then what happens when you have a buyer who wants to buy multiple items? Now you did all that work, and now you have to reopen all those boxes to combine shipping, because you're going to put all those in a bigger box now. So that also led to issues. I've had that happen. So the only thing I would recommend prepackaging, if it's something that's like super fragile, that when you put it out there, you're so afraid you're going to break it on the shelf or somewhere else, that would be okay to prepackage. Or like Joe, like something real big that you have no idea what the cost is going to be, because you have to Frankenstein some boxes or something like that. I can see prepackaging that up. But majority of the time, I mean, what happens if you prepackage all this stuff up and it sits there for a year? Now you have boxes piling up. You're wasting valuable space. Space, time, these are all things that are very valuable for us resellers, because the more space we take up, the less quality or big buys we can do. So I don't suggest doing that. I would suggest having a scale there, weigh your item next to it, and then have a general idea of what the packaging supplies would weigh, or have your packaging supplies next to you where you put in the scale and then have a general idea.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I don't prepackage anything. There's not space for that. You just can't do it. And I mean, Rod mentioned tons of other reasons. All you have to do, like if I move, you can see like our most common size boxes are right there. That's our shipping area. And then the polys are over here. So if you put them on the scale and take a picture of what it weighs, have a couple extra pieces of bubble wrap, throw those, the item, and the packaging, you will know. I guesstimate 90%. So unless the girls have something that they're like, holy crap, this is way heavier than she's going to think it is, then they'll put in a weight. Otherwise, I guess I'm over on some, I'm under on some, but it evens out just because I've been doing it so long. There would be no way. I have 8,000 items. There would be that would just not be possible for me to do it.
One thing, I would say,
I don't get what calculated shipping has to do with that. Because if you do flat rate, it's still going to cost what it costs, and you're probably going to lose money.
They don't know the package. What I'm assuming is they don't know what the box, the packing supplies inside is going to be.
I put 8 by 8 by 8 for the size of the box for everything if I don't think it's going to go over 12 by 12 by 12.
So a general rule of thumb is, if you're brand new to reselling, what I would recommend doing is literally have your most common boxes you use. You can literally put them on a scale and maybe put a little bubble wrap on the scale with it. Just have a general idea how much that box and that bubble wrap, the package supply is going to weigh for inside of there. And you can literally keep a piece of paper, be like, okay, well, if I use a 12 by 12 box, this is going to be 4 ounces. If I use this one, then you have a little cheat sheet next to you. So when you go to weigh your item, hey, I think it's going to go in a 12 by 12 box. Oh, it's going to be added 4 ounces to my listing. Then you're done. And then I also recommend, if you sell anything big that you've never shipped before, or big items, do not list it on eBay without getting a box, knowing what the potential side is, because that's where people get burned a lot, especially the very new, is listing really big items on eBay and underestimating the shipping. So I'd highly recommend trying to get a box before you list it, so you have a general idea what it may cost you to do dimensions and weight.
All right. Ari says, what do you do if you sell an item and after you shipped it, the person tells you they have a new address and couldn't change it on the order after it's already shipped?
I don't think you can do much at that point. Just let them know that it's shipped to the address that was on eBay.
Yeah, that's happened a handful of times this year and the previous year. I usually message back telling them that you can't change it while it's in transition to the destination that they had on there. That so this is what's happened to me several times. They are moving from that old address, or have moved, but they have family in that old address, or they are familiar with the people that live there, and they'll just go back and say, "I had a package, just what happened, I'll get it." And usually they say, "Okay, let me go do that," and okay, that worked out. I've never really had anything happen other than I think one time the item came back because nobody lived there, or they didn't accept it and they did the right thing, return back to sender. So I would have them, I would receive the item. I would tell them if they would like to cancel it to make sure they still canceled it, and so I don't get dinged for it, and then have them repurchase the item, reminding them to update the proper address.
So if the item's already been shipped, and let's say the buyer reached out to you the day you shipped it or the day after you shipped it, you can literally try to go to the post office website or UPS or FedEx. You can try to have the package redirected. Sometimes you can get that work. That doesn't work all the time. Or you can have that package shipped back to you. That's another option. Sometimes I think they do charge a fee for that.
It's a fee though. Yeah, like you have to pay to do it.
So depending, I mean, if it's an expensive item, it could be worth it. You know, that the item doesn't get lost. The other thing I would tell the buyer to file a forward shipping, so they can try to contact the postal service or whoever has their package there and try to have it forwarded to their property. That would be another option. But I mean, once you mail an item, it gets delivered to the address that was provided to you by eBay. I mean, you're off the hook at that point in time. You're covered. So that's up to the buyer to kind of figure it out by then.
Yeah, that's what's happening to me right now. I sold this bird cage that I got at Goodwill just last week for $8. It's sold on Etsy for $950. I listed it up at $1,250. I got an offer for $1,150, and the item got there. I saw the tracking on my end, and it said returning back to buyer. I think it said, or shipper
or sender.
Sender. So I messaged the person saying, "Hey, the item's getting returned back," and I showed them the screenshot showing their address on the top on using my iPhone, and then I just put a little arrow in there showing the reason why it's being sent, and then also like the breakdown of transit that is showing on my end. So they forgot to add the apartment number, so it is coming back to me. Once that comes back, because I'm making such a huge profit after checking this. I hope, crossing my fingers, nothing's wrong with it, because you don't want an item any value going back and forth because things happen. So I am just gonna take the $47 burn out of the profit and send it back with the correct address.
Yeah, like I just tell them I'm sorry it's already shipped out, because I'm not like, it sucks, but yeah. And I've done that. I've done the same thing. So yeah. All right. 100 VHS, half or Disney clamshell, great condition, sell separately or in lots.
I don't know. Maybe as a lot. I know some of those sales from the Disney clamshells aren't realistic, so maybe as a lot you'll get a fan that's looking for a bunch of Disney movies and sell them that way. I think that might be your best bet.
I agree. This is part of the reason why I want to get back on Whatnot when I get into storage units, because I know I'm going to have bulk amounts of things, and I want to start doing it before I get into storage units to start building up my fan base or clientele or whatever you call it on that end. I don't want to just cold turkey start in a way, and then there's nobody and I'm just there sitting around. Social media, my friends, whether you believe it or not, I would say you don't ever have to show your face if that's not what you want to do, but have a platform to fall back on Instagram or somewhere that shows your items if you want to move things along faster. I feel like it's free advertising. Majority of us have smartphones. We have time on our hands more than what we realize if we just get organized. And that's part of the process I've been working on. And it has showed a huge benefit, not only just my in reselling, but also the relationship with my wife, family, and friends, and having free time to hang out with them.
So how would you sell the VHS?
Me, Whatnot,
Okay.
or in lots like Joe said.
So okay. So VHS is tricky. Disney's tricky. Like Joe said, a lot of the VHS you see for Disney, they're fake sales. Many years ago, they were the internet was trolling everyone. The Black Diamond, where you put it up there for auction, and people would bid on it super high, and you'll see Black Diamond sell for thousands of dollars on there that were unpaid, all because eBay didn't make immediate payment on auctions. I would say majority of Disney VHS are pretty much going to be worthless. The only the ones you really want to that you probably want to sell individually would be the clamshells like from the 80s. Some of those are first print. Some of those can actually bring, decent value. Believe it or not, the Disney TV shows are what you actually want to sell in VHS. So from like the TV shows they have, those sell really well. If it's movies such as like Pinocchio, Beauty and the Beast, and like a lot of the classics we all know, you're better off just put them in a giant lot and sell them. I will say 95% of all VHS are pretty much worthless. It may not even be worth your time to sell those. So I would just say it may be more of a hassle for you, and sometimes it's better just to donate them and move on. But just decide what's best for you and the ones you have.
I would look at how they're selling. If I had a bunch of them, I would research it and look at the solds on eBay. And I'm going to venture to say it's probably going to be lots, but I would look to see if it's lots of 5. Is it lots of 10? Is it lots of 20? Like what is selling at the best price point is probably how I would do it. And then I would probably do like all the princess movies together, like lot them up by kind of genre inside the Disney ones so that they're grouped together. That's what I would do. Let's see. Gretchen said she's thinking of going back to her 9-to-5 job. Her eBay sales are horrendous. Rod, did you want to put this up where we could comment on it?
I want to put it up because I think it's a very interesting topic to talk about, and maybe we can give her some type of advice. So I thought it'd be just something too, because I think most resellers at some point in time in your career, especially if you're starting out as a reseller, you literally have that thought process where you start to panic. You think about, do I have to get a part-time job? Do I need to get a full-time job? Do I need to stop reselling? So what are your opinions on that, Joe? Or what kind of advice would you provide her? Because you're part-time.
Yeah, I'm part-time. So, I mean, I started off really selling to pay the kids' school tuition. I have 3 kids. They all go to Catholic school. So, I mean, I have tuition bill every month. So that's my motivation to sell. But I think it goes to like, you got to dig a little bit deeper into seeing why your items aren't selling. Maybe check the prices of them. Maybe you're a little bit, priced too high on things. Are pictures good? Titles good? Things like that. But that also takes time. So that takes time away from you doing this, as your full-time job is to go back and try to figure out what it is. I think that could be, a hurdle to get over because you're thinking that you got to list, and taking that time away from listing to go and try to fix something that you're not sure is going to work. That's why I don't think I could ever be a full-time reseller. I don't know how you guys do it. I give you a bunch of credit for doing it. Like I said, I have, just one reason of why I do this is to make that money to pay the tuition. So I know what I have to do each month. I know that bill at the end of the month is what it's going to be sitting there. And any money that I make over that, we try to use it for vacation and, things like that. So, to do this full time for me, I don't think I would ever be able to do it.
So, I was asking you, how much less stressful is your life right now because you do this part time to full time? Would you say? Because you can pick and choose when you want to resell.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be I don't think I could do it full time. I think it would be too stressful for me worrying about that money coming in. Where's the next paycheck and things like that. I never got into this to do this full time. And like I said, I don't think I would ever, maybe after I retire, whatever, do it full time or, things like that. But right now, I don't think I would be able to do it just with the, having a family, a wife and 3 kids, and bills and all that. I just don't know if I would be the right person for that. That's just me, my personality of, worrying about, that money every week, or every payout, is it enough money to keep us afloat? I don't think I'd be able to do it, but there are some things you could do. Just go back and take a look at your listings, make sure your pictures are good, make sure your pricing items right, maybe run a sale to try to jumpstart those sales coming in and do it that way.
Yeah, I would say open up to other platforms. I'm on Knickknacks, Cat's on Knickknacks. and I have amazing times on there. So, and to me, amazing, that may be different for other people. I'm going to throw you some numbers that's actually worked out for me on Knickknacks. I have maybe like an hour when it comes to me having actual auctions over on Knickknacks. The other day I was on there for like 20 minutes of that. I sold 9 items for things that I paid $1.50 for. I made $87 in profit, and it worked out just in time when it was starting to slow down that I had to bounce off, and it worked. But then I've also had other times where I'm on there for about 30 minutes to an hour and made over $1,000 in sales and $700 and something in profits. So when eBay starts to slow down on something, do your best not to scratch your head and make something work when it's not working at the moment. It's working when it does, and it's great. But I would open up and venture to other platforms or look at pop-up shops in your local neighborhood, things that you could see yourself and wanting to do rather than going against the grain and knowing that you're not going to enjoy it. A big part of who I am and what I do is involved or relates to me being at peace and happy. And that's one thing I share on my vlog channel and talk about in my thrifting channel. They're 2 entirely different things, still the same me, but there's these different sides that you don't see from resellers and thrifting videos that I share and am open with inside my vlog channel. And I would say, don't make it harder on yourself by it. For those who may be thinking this, don't feel ashamed of having to go back to your full-time job. I was working part-time. I was eBay part-time for the first 4 years, and I made more money as a part-time reseller than I have been a full-time reseller, because the work that it takes to be at home to help out, and it's not a struggle. At first, I struggled with it because I was new to it. I was home and I would wash dishes or something. I'm like, I'm going to do reselling stuff. I'm going to go thrifting. I'm going to list items. I wasn't applying myself to home when I started seeing a bigger picture. Like, I'm a douchebag. I need to help my wife with everything. I need to overserve her as best as possible and just try to make it easier on her. She works her butt off. She's a nurse. She works 12-hour shift, and 12-hour shift is not what people think it is in the medical field. It's really like 6-hour shift of downtime, because you still have to do stuff when you get home. You have to take care of family and friends and other things like that, and then you get a rest, and then it repeats all over again. So I've been reselling full time 3 years this past August in a few months, and I've been enjoying it a lot more now that I've have a bigger understanding of what it takes for me to just be a better person. And that helps me be a better reseller with the free time and getting organized and other things that we talked about here earlier.
So I am full-time. And I will say, first and foremost, it is not easy. It is not easy being a full-time reseller. And when I worked my day job, I worked 9 to 5, I worked in the medical industry. I did medical sales, medical contracts. I worked, eBay was also my full-time job. It's like I had 2 full-time jobs. But I got to the point where I call it quitting quietly, where I would, all my downtime, my job, or when I was supposed to be working, or I was supposed to doing paperwork and other stuff, I was literally just listing on eBay because I hated what I did. I just tired of the corporate BS and I wanted out. And I was determined to do whatever it took to get to that point. Now, with that being said, I had years and was able to prepare to build up my business, knowing what I want to do and stuff like that. A lot of people that jump into going full time, it is very difficult. Now, Gretchen, I don't know your situation, how long you've been selling on there, if you just jumped into it, if you were put in that situation because you lost a job or something else. Everyone's situation is different. But I will say, and Sonny hit the nail on the head. It's okay sometimes to take 2 steps back before you can take a step forward. So just because if you're thinking things are difficult now, you have to get a job, doesn't mean you have to get a full-time job. You can get a part-time job. You can drive Uber, deliver pizza, whatever you had to do. I would do whatever it took to not go back to the corporate force if I had to. But I would say it's okay sometimes. You know, you can literally, if you still want to resell or want to do that full-time, you can literally go back, get a job, and then do that for 6 months or a year, whatever you need to do, restructure your business to get to a better position that you can go back and jump into it. You know, cross-listing is a good way to try to expand your business. Selling locally, local platforms, you know, networking. I would highly recommend trying to find maybe another reseller in your area or people that you can talk to or someone that can help mentor you, because I know a lot of times people don't know how to run a business compared to reselling online. That's 2 different things. And you have to treat, when you are full-time, you have to treat this like a business. Yeah. You have to be disciplined. I'm not saying you're not doing those things. I'm just saying, just generally speaking, it's a tough thing. You have to be disciplined because you work for yourself. You know, I have people depending on me. I have a kid. I have multiple pets. I have a wife. I have a house. I have a truck payment. I have all these other responsibilities where I have no choice. I can't fail. I have no choice to fail. So that requires me working 14, 15-hour days. I'm going to do it. Not that's what I want to do. I want to get the part where I'm not working those many hours, but sometimes I have to. That's what you have to do to make things work sometimes. But I'm happier now than I ever have been because I do work for myself and get to pick and choose my time. And Kat's pretty much in the same position. I mean, Kat, what about you? I mean, what do you, if someone told you to go back to take a 9-to-5 job, I mean, what would you have to, what advice would you give?
I would find whatever the heck I could do. I would go DoorDash part-time before I'd go to until my sales picked up, honestly. I want to say though, I think one of the biggest things with going from full or part-time to full-time is that a lot of people don't realize how many hours you put in part-time. So you expect that your sales are going to double or triple or all this. And really you're already putting 30 hours in a week. So unless you start working 60 or 70 hours on your reselling, you're not going to see double the sales. You might see like a 20% jump. So like when I quit, I was making exactly what I wanted to make. And I mean, I have always been the sole provider for the last 15 years for myself, my kids. And so when I quit, there was no fail option. Like I did not have that option. So like for me, like if I had to go live every day on Whatnot and Knickknacks twice a day, whatever, you know, like I would figure it out. I would do it. I do not ever want to work for somebody else. That was a lot of like, honestly, my hand tattoo, that kind of cements, because that if I tried to go back and get a job, this is going to limit me. It's going to limit me. There's a nursing shortage, so I still think I could get a job, but it definitely would probably put a little road bump in there. So that's kind of a little more motivation for me. But there's just like with reselling, you've got to put the time in. And sometimes that time is that 70 hours a week that I was talking about. And if sales are slow, you put in more time or you find other avenues, whether that's, you know, selling locally. I would go to the friggin' flea market if I had to.
I did that this year.
I love what I'm doing so much. And there are so many different avenues that you can take. Not just eBay. If eBay, like there are people that watch me that comment that Mercari is their top selling platform. Poshmark is their top selling platform. I don't see it because eBay is my top selling platform. And I'm like, I don't see how I could ever have like Mercari or Posh be my top. But there are people that are doing it. So, I mean, depending on what you're selling, one of those other platforms could be amazing for you. And if you don't try it, you don't know. So, but I don't think there's like any shame in going back to it if that's what you want to do. Right? Like, don't feel bad about doing it. But I think that if you want to do this, I would try everything in my power to not have to go back to a 9-to-5. And like, I have been here home with Dalton and like through all of the stuff that I just went through, it made it really easy because I'm here, I'm home. Like our schedule didn't change. Our routines didn't change. Nothing changed. And it just like, I can go on his field trips. I take him to school every morning. I pick him up from school every day, you know, and that's something that I don't want to not be able to do. And if I had any job, I wouldn't be able to, not a full-time one. There's no way, not working for somebody else that you would be able to do. So, all right. Squirrely Reseller sent a $10 super chat and said Kevin and his pineapple on New Year's Eve. Hey, we could go. Gino, where can we go live from the villages? I'll drive there. I need somewhere to stay though. I cannot drive home. And she said, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Thanks for sharing your expertise and humor. What kind of wine, Kat? So I'm gonna put this up here and I will tell you, anybody that knows me would know I do not drink wine. I'm a whiskey girl. I have never drank wine. I will never drink wine. I like. Yeah. All right. What should we do? Should we give her Kevin and his pineapple since she mentioned it?
Let me close my eyes first.
Okay, close your eyes. Joe, close your eyes. Here we go. All right. Dun, da, da, da. Berkshire Picker says, does Whatnot District Depop take sales tax out for you, or do you have to submit your sales tax quarterly?
I'm not sure. I don't sell on any of those platforms.
I don't know. I'm on District over on Knickknacks, but this will be the first full year, I think. Because when I started the year before, or when it kicked off in October, I didn't start until November because I was on vacation. So this will be my first full year on Knickknacks.
So from my understanding is that all the selling platforms take the sales tax for you, so you don't have to handle that.
Yeah, by law. It's by law, by your state, they have to take them, so they are taken.
Yep.
The only time they wouldn't be is if you were doing YouTube sales and you were doing it yourself, then you would have to do quarterly.
Mm.
Even like Big Cartel and Shopify take it for you as well. Hollyhock wants to know, how much do you price up to allow for offers and seller fees while still being a fair seller?
To be honest, I usually don't mark up anything, above what the market, is showing you that things sell for. If sales comps say that something sells for $40, I'm listed at around $40. Might even be a little bit lower than $40. I want to keep things, selling. I don't want to hold on to things. So I kind of list towards the lower end of that. I don't run too many sales on my items, so I'm right around there. But I think you also have to focus more on, the buying end of it. You make your, when people say you make your money on when you buy the item, to know where your, profits, know how much you're going to make. So I don't usually, mark anything up other than what the, the going rate is.
Yeah. No, I do like Joe, and I'll have, if it's $60, I list it at $60. But my items over on eBay will have offers available. There's only one thing that I priced up higher. It's a couple of things I priced up higher. Will be the bird cage that I was talking about earlier that sold on Etsy for $9.50, and I priced it up higher because the research that I found on it, information I found through researching on it, was that it was very unique and rare, which is why I did that, and it worked out. But now it's going back to me. I got to send it back. So cross my fingers that works out. And then the other thing, what was it? Fees. I just try to be as fair as possible, like Joe said. I want things to move fast, faster the better, because I just want to go out there and look for more stuff and repeat the process. This is fun as a reseller. Like, I looked at full-time jobs as something like, I can't wait to retire. You just want to get that time over with. With reselling, I don't see that. I find it fun to know that this could something that could be that never ends for me until I decide to. And it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. And not just because of the items, because of the community as well. And also being a content creator, there's a lot of pros that has helped me be a reseller, especially full-time, because I get to go to therapy and I get to do all these other things that I couldn't do before and have to struggle with people that had, and I'm bringing in work because we talked about this earlier. I wanted to throw it in there. When I was my 9 to 5, Rod said he worked in corporate, I believe. Kat was a nurse. Joe is like private sector hitman. And I was working for security at the Win, and I was getting over 100,000 a year. And I was like, man, I want to get here. I want to get to, past entry level. I want to be a career. And then when I got there, I'm like, I'm not happy. They're requiring so much stuff from me that I could make this money that I was looking forward to getting, but I have no downtime. I couldn't make appointments. I couldn't do anything that benefited me, me and my wife. And it wasn't until I said, you know what, I'm going to figure it out. I've been doing good with eBay, so I'm going to stick to that. So these little things play a big part of what I didn't like in a full-time job. To segue back into the question, I do what works for me to keep a smile on my face, and as much smiles with my wife's face, being the type of reseller that I want to be, that works for my business model, which changes every day.
So I don't mark up any of my items I run a sale. The purpose of me running sales is to try to move my items. So I price my items at market value, or maybe if I'm one of the people that has an item on eBay that's a very rare item, I might price it to the higher end of the market, or if it's a mint condition, price the higher end of the market. But I will have wiggle room on all my items to even sell below market value, just because you make your money in the buy, not the sell. So as long as you're buying items for a full price, you can list at market value and still take a little bit below market value. You can leave yourself some wiggle room for offers.
How do I hit the thumbs down?
List in my store, the bigger offer I will.
Yeah, like you can't price up for that, because that's just going to make people not want to buy your item. Like I filter from lowest price plus shipping. That's how I look for item. So I would never even see your item to send you an offer if you had priced it higher than the market average just for that fact. So I'm like Joe, I'm pricing right at market or a little bit lower. And that's where you have to make your money on the buy. You have to buy appropriately and have the room for offers and seller fees when you buy the item. Not you buy it and then you figure out where to price it. That's totally backwards. Everybody is now talking about Sonny's hair. Gino,
with one
we need a Sonny's hair super chat. Like that.
Do a little hair flip.
Flip.
If I make a video of that, of a hair flip, I need commission. I need royalties.
2 cents. All right, hold on. What am I going to do? Oh, we haven't done the whale. Here you go. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Russell wants to know, does anyone here tip their postal, UPS, FedEx delivery drivers?
I do. I usually give them a Wawa gift card, including the trash bin too.
Yeah, throughout the year, my main postal person is going to be Morgan. She's amazing. I first ran into her when she ended up taking over the guy that retired. When we moved here in 2018 to our house, and I was taking packages outside. I said, "Hey, these orders just came in on eBay. Would you mind taking them in along with the other ones?" Because I had some scheduled. She said, "Oh, what do you do?" So I told her about my reselling business and also content on YouTube. So ever since then, she'll knock on the door and see if I have anything, because she knows it's random that comes in. And with USPS, you could schedule. Here is like the safe side is 11:30, not at midnight, to schedule items to be picked up the next day. But after that, you might as well do it yourself, because then you're gonna have to take 2 days later unless you pay for it. So one thing that I told her, I said, "Hey, this sounds funny. It's okay." I was like, "But I'm using my garage, packing up orders or listing, taking photos and stuff. If you see the garage door cracked, I'm in there." And she took it as like, "Oh, I'll check up on you and see if there's any packages." So when that happens, there usually is. I don't just leave it cracked for no reason. But we've become really good friends. She has plans on hitting me up soon about buying some stuff from her. But I do tip her throughout the year because we travel a lot from Hawaii to Texas, all these other places. And we get things from there and we'll bring it back, and I'll give her some things like gift cards or some souvenirs that are really cool and give it to her when she says she's just doing her job. But she's great. If you want to do it, do it. It goes a long way.
I will tell you, if someone who grew up, my dad had a hauling tree service business, and we would be working at people's houses all the time in the heat and doing things, nothing is more rewarding than someone coming out and offering me a drink or something to eat or drink. Even if they don't take it, I would say make sure these people are out in the heat, doing their packages, working hard, having people yell at them or give them a hard time. The little gestures go a long way. So if you can give them a gift card for Christmas, if you can give them even if it's a $5 Starbucks card, or get often bottles of water when you see them, it goes a long way, and they will really appreciate it. Take care of the people, take care of you. It's the way I run my business.
I'm gonna sound horrible right now. Last year the answer is yes, I did. this year, and I've discussed this a couple of times, we have a new postal carrier who is not very friendly, who will overstuff the mailbox and let my packages fall onto the road. Who will do anything he can not to have to come up to the house and put something on the porch. So I absolutely will not be giving him anything. And UPS tried to sue me this year. I had to pay $2,500. Maybe FedEx. FedEx might get something. Because the dog, Rod, the dog.
Oh, gotcha.
And the guys in their cars that are doing it, I'll give them something. I would like to, and now it's too late. Like, it's too late to do it. I always say I'd like to set up like the drink station, with like the snacks. I think that would be super cool to set up. Even the ones I don't like, they could have it because it would be there. But yeah, our new postal carrier he's just not friendly. And even the postmaster, they did not want him to get the job, but it is by seniority. Yeah. And ours that we loved, she retired. And so even like all the people at the post office don't even like this dude. He's like so not nice. He's just not nice. So like when somebody does stuff like that, and like we've had packages ran over because dude stuffed the mailbox too full. I'm not gonna tip you if you don't give me good service.
You didn't make the naughty list or the.
I'll give him a piece of coal. Can I do that? I put this up here. I wanted to put this up here real quick, and then I'll let everybody say bye because we're already running late. The listing party format and be live on New Year's Eve would probably not be wise if I'm drinking, because who knows what the heck I would do. I don't think that is a wise. You may list live watching me.
I've got to hang out with Kat when she's drinking. Rod has too.
Yeah, that was in we did in Arizona.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Somebody got choked out for a second. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you remember?
I don't know. Probably not.
You don't.
Probably not.
Got choked out for a quick second.
I tend to when I drink, I tend to drink.
Kat is fun. She braids
there's no
my
in the
hair.
middle.
Yeah.
There's not I don't have one or two. Like if I drink,
yeah, we drink.
We drink. Yeah. Look, they're saying yeah, they remember. All right, I don't know how the man still has his job. I wish I knew. Get it? Oh, a crazy straw, like the woo. That's what you want me to drink out of? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and make Joe big, make Sonny big. Rod will tell you what he has going on. I will look and see who will be here with us on Christmas Eve next week. So here is Joe.
Thanks again, Kat and Rod, for having us on. Had a great time. Thanks for all the great questions. Hopefully I gave some sort of little bit of information maybe that will help you out. Also, stop by and check out the podcast that I do with Jimmy, Old School Flips, and Mike Death Pile Picker. I'll put the link in the chat if you want to go over, subscribe. We release a new episode every week on Wednesdays at, I think it's 10:30.
Perfect. Here is Sonny.
I do my best to have 2 thrift videos out. I was doing a daily vlog, and that worked out good until I wanted to focus back on reselling. So I'm always in limbo on stuff. I'm always trying to do better and share my life with others. And I'm a simple person, although I feel like my wife says I'm complicated. I just try to be better every day. I try to be a good example for myself and our community. And if you enjoyed even just a smidget of me, just give me a follow anyways. Even if you didn't, just do it.
Just follow him. Whether you like him or not, just do it.
Yeah, just follow.
All right, Rod. What's going on?
Yeah. So I'll drop my new pick and punch video tomorrow. Sorry, I didn't drop it today. Christmas and sales have been crazy, so it's taking up so much of my time packaging with reselling. I have been dropping a lot of videos on my picking and punching cards channel. So if you guys like sports cards, I think we're up to like 80,000 views this last month here. So go check that out. We're getting a lot of momentum there, which is great. Also, too, on Friday, one of the biggest events I've had in all my reselling career, good or bad, will come in a video on my car channel on Friday. That's all I'm saying. So go check it out. It's going to be a very interesting video. That's dropping Friday, but check out my pick and punch channel tomorrow. And I'm hoping to get my flipping and punching video done this week. We'll see, depending on how much sales I have.
All right. Next week for Christmas Eve, we are going to have Sandy from My Flippin' Van Life and Flippin' Hippos. It will be all, well, depending on who I get to co-host. I was going to say, it might be all girls. Sonny could do it.
I could pass. Let me shave.
He could pass. Just shave. Put on some lipstick. Well, I don't want to be big. We could make ourselves big. I don't want to be big. I'm putting out a video tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I haven't slept well in 4 days. And Okay. I saw several of you ask to see the tattoo again. I will show you guys real quick and then we will get out of here. We are starting to fill the color in. My arm is swollen. It hurts. And yeah, there's the octopus with the color. So I'm showing you people. Next, I'm not going back until January 5th because this will take a long time to heal, and then we will probably make it up to like above my elbow, and then I'll have one last one to go to the top. And I'll have over 40 hours into it by the time we are done. So I'm at like 30-something hours in it right now. So thank you guys for coming. Hopefully you can join us next week on Christmas Eve. I'm sure Dalton will be in here with me. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Yes, thank you, Marsha. Follow Red Cardinal Treasures and Gino Spines, guys. Follow those two.